Alright, so hard part is done. We got the transmission back in the car. It's pretty heavy, so I did have the help of my fiance's brother to help out with that part. Now that the transmission's in, I'm going to finish torquing it down. Right now the car is just on the front jack stands. I'm going to go ahead and lift up the rear as well, just so I can have an easier time with the drive shaft. Like I said before, haven't had too much time. All the wind, just a lot of different things going on. But happy to get it started today. Should be able to finish it. So let's do it. Alrighty, time to lift the rear of the car. Just go ahead and run over everything that I see. Did I leave the bolts on the starter? No, don't look like it. That kind of sucks. So the new bolts, or not the new bolts, but the bolts, they're probably hidden in this mess. Such a mess. My God. This is all the wind. Alright, so time to finish torquing down the transmission. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Now time for the starter to get reinstalled. Make sure you line up both of the bolts first before tightening down the starter, just because it's not going to want to pivot and you're going to need it to move around a little bit just to get that hole in. Make sure you guys put this bracket back on as well. It is a ground, so you're going to need that one in. After you got it nice and snug, reach back up to the top bolt. You want to thread it in by hand as much as possible, so you won't have to use the ratchet as much. Alright, well now that that's all taken care of, go ahead and work on the rear transmission mount. You're going to have 4 bolts, one right here, two on the opposite side, to actually attach the mount to the transmission. So as 4 right here, and attach it to the actual frame. You have to pull it down just a little bit, get it started. So I went ahead and installed the shifter. It's already up there. Thing is, this thing right here, this part's going to require a cotter pin. So before putting on the drive shaft, I recommend putting this cotter pin in first, just so you won't have to go in there, put your hands through this hole and try and make the cotter pin fit. It'll be easier to get through right now, instead of doing it later. Alright, so now that the actual cotter pin's in, reinstalled the boot, it's all taken care of. We're going to go ahead and have 2 bolts right here as well. Going to go ahead and tighten those up. Time to put the drive shaft back in. On my drive shaft, since it's been really windy, it got a little dirty. So we'll go ahead and make sure you do clean it off before the reinstall. You also want to check out the condition. I know for the most part these cars don't have too many miles on them, but you do want to check out the condition of the seal. That guy in there. Right now would be a good time to change it. If it looks a little worn out, if you have some oil leaking, that would be a good time to change it out. Go ahead and line it up with the holes. You're gonna want to have your bolts on hand. Go ahead and scoot the drive shaft back enough. Go ahead and thread them in. Just get them hand tight. Alright, now for the rear of the drive shaft, I'm gonna go ahead and have 4 of these guys right here. Go ahead and lift it up. Alright, so I went ahead and put in 2 of the bolts over there. So what we want to do is, we made the drive shaft a little snug, right? So we're going to go ahead and back off the bolts just a little bit. What that's going to do is, for this part up here, what we're going to want to do is tighten these down first. That way the drive shaft can stretch out in this direction towards the rear of the car. Once these are tightened down, we're going to go ahead and actually tighten those down afterwards, once everything's in place in the way it should be lined up. So I'm going to have to go ahead and tighten these down to, I believe it was 55 foot-pounds, so I'm going to make them snug as much as possible. I guess what I could do is something like that. Got 1 click, 2 clicks. Got that one set to 55. 2 clicks. Alright, that should be the 4th one. Go ahead and finish tightening up these guys right here, and then the drive shaft will be completely done. We'll go ahead and reinstall the exhaust piping. I still have to put the front bumper on, I still have to put the lights on and everything, but I don't have time for that right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish off everything that belongs on the underside. And then I'm going to go fire it up. Well, actually I still have to fill in the transmission with oil. Forgot about that. That's an easy thing to do. I have Motul 300. Alright, just to give you guys some reference on the transmission, front of the engine is that way. I'm going to come back down here. Right here you're going to have your transmission drain plug. Go ahead and remove that in order to drain out the transmission first. Once you're done, go ahead and tighten this guy back up. And your filler plug is going to be up here. Go ahead and remove this once you drained out the transmission. The Motul 300 that I got, it does come with its own spout. So I'm going to go ahead and put this little guy right here just so I can break it free. It is a 10mm hex key, because you guys are wondering. That was unfortunate. Go ahead and loosen it up. Alright, so this is the Motul 300. It's about 20 bucks. I believe it's per quart. Yeah, per quart, 20 bucks. I believe you're gonna need 3 of them. Last time I did, I bought 3. I think you have like a little bit left over with the 3rd one. So for filling up the trans, you're gonna want the car to be leveled. So have it up on all 4 jack stands. Make sure the car is nice and straight. So what you're gonna do is, from this little hole right here, you're gonna open up the Motul. I'll show you guys in a bit what the spout looks like. Put it in here. You're gonna pour it in. The way you know when the transmission is full is you keep pouring in slowly. So the first 2 you can go ahead and pour in. The 3rd one, go ahead and a little bit slower. Just because when it starts to pour out a little bit, that's how you know it's full. Go ahead and that's what it's gonna look like. I'm just gonna unscrew this cap. So that's a good thing about this too. Even the spout itself has a cap. You can go ahead and store it when need be. So for the fill, go ahead and get the spout. put it in. Alright, time for the third bottle. Starting to get a few drops. Alright. Starting to pool up. You can already see right here a little bit of oil coming out. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and tighten that bolt back up. I seriously cannot wait to get this car washed. Just extremely dirty. Alright, so one of the bolts on the exhaust was broken. I'm trying to see if I have any extras. Yeah, no luck finding a bolt, so we'll go ahead and work on that later. For now, I just want to get the most of the exhaust bolted up, just so I can at least drive it around. If one bolt's missing, it's not a big deal. Just have a small exhaust leak, but for the most part, I just want to be able to finally drive it again. Probably give her a good wash. So that's my goal for today, get it done. So, gotta hook up the header to the overpipe, and then finish hooking up the rest of it. So, yes, I have a big mess, and yes, the car is not complete. I said to put on the front bumper, but I'll be redoing the headlights anyway, so I'm gonna leave it off for now. Just have everything zip tied up. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheels on and drop it down. When the throttle bearing gave out on me initially, I had the gas light on, so I'm gonna take it for a quick spin. Nothing too crazy. I still have to do the 500-mile break-in period for the clutch.